Welcome to Studio 889. I'm Mo Wilkes of WERS and ERS Plus. July, one of the hottest months in Boston for weather, but it's not only a key time for just going outside, going out of town for vacation exploration, but doing some inner self introspection. If you didn't know, we're in BIPOC Mental Health Awareness Month. It's time to acknowledge the specific mental health needs of these communities, which are often overlooked. My guest today is an author and a practitioner by the name of Dr. Charmain Jackman, PhD. She's a Harvard-trained psychologist with over 20 plus years of service in the mental health field. She's the founder CEO of InnoPsych, which connects individuals, especially those from marginalized communities, with therapists of color, and has connected over 10,000 people since its founding. Congratulations. So we're going to find out about Dr. Jackman's journey, paths to becoming a psychologist entrepreneur, discuss her book, The Black Therapist's Guide to Private Practice and Entrepreneurship, which you thankfully have brought with you today, and strategies, finally, we can use in our everyday, lives this month and hopefully throughout the year. So welcome, Dr. Jackman.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Mo. It's good to be here.
Take a pound. It's all good. It's all good. Welcome to the Studio 889. Let's get comfortable. So share with people who don't know necessarily who you are, your journey. You originally hailed from?
Okay. Barbados.
Big up.
We'll take it all the way back then.
Okay.
So I imagine this little girl, probably about 14 years old, had a vision of being a psychologist. I had never met one. The only one, not one in real life. There was a TV guy, Bob Newhart. That was an image that I saw of somebody who would meet and talk to people about their problems, and I was like, I want to do that.
Wow. I'm impressed. That's kind of the, at least for people like myself and my demographic, that's the stereotypical thing we think of. You go into a doctor's or a psychologist's office, there's that couch, there's that chair, and there's the person that's sitting over there kind of like, looking very intently about you and asking you, so, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
How are you doing? Right. How does that make you feel?
Right. But from the jump, that was the moment it clicked for you that you said to yourself, this is the path I'm going to be?
This is what I wanted to be. Yeah, I am someone who was an observer.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at patterns. I observed people's behavior. I was always curious. I love puzzles, love to solve things. So I think it found me. In my school, we had sociology classes. And at the time, Barbados didn't even have a psychology department at the time. So I knew I needed to leave home, which I was ready to. It was a small island, and I wanted to spread my wings. I was like, this bird has got to fly.
Fly, man. There you go.
So I, was able, my parents hadn't raised any money for college because there was a university there. And so I was fortunate to, these people came down from Iowa looking to recruit students. And that's how it started. So.
That is different. That is definitely different.
It was a fit. I did my undergraduate in a small university in Iowa. And then I did my PhD program at a university in Mississippi, in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Oh, wow. So you've seen the country from different angles.
I have, yeah.
So your personal journey as a psychologist and entrepreneur, how has that gone for you thus far?
I would say it's been a great fit. I love what I do. I love talking about mental health because I'm always curious. I mentioned that. Mm-hmm. So I came to Boston because I needed to do an internship, and we had to do a whole process and match. I got to match at Children's Hospital. Oh, wow. And then while there, I learned about a postdoctoral fellowship program in forensic psychology, which was something that I was very interested in. Law and Order was pretty hot at the time.
You and TV.
So
I'm seeing a connection here. I'm noticing a connection. Okay.
So I did that program for 2 years and, got to work in the courts, juvenile courts, and made an impact on, as a system, one of, those systems where we see a lot of people of color come through, a lot of young families, young people of color. And I was able to lend my voice and perspective and name some of the systemic issues that I was seeing. So that was great. I did that for 3 or 4 years full time, and then my dream job was actually to work at a high school.
Oh.
So that was my dream job because I was where I grew up, I didn't have a lot of adults that I could talk to about things that were going on with me. And my mission was I wanted to be a trusted adult that a young person could have. So when this job opened up at, it was actually back at Children's Hospital they were just starting rolling out a school-based mental health program.
Okay.
And so my first year I didn't get it, but the second year I was like back there. So then I ended up working at Boston Arts Academy for 17 years.
Congratulations.
So
wow.
doing two things that I loved. But in that journey, if you haven't figured out yet, people listening, I am pretty driven.
Nothing wrong with being driven. A lot of times, especially for everybody, not just people of color, but if you can see it in action, it actually spurs that inspiration for you to think that you can actually do it.
Absolutely.
So I'm not trying to discourage anybody from using the media, especially if you see something on television or wherever.
Right.
And speaking of BIPOC communities, it's been said that BIPOC Mental Health Awareness Month exists because it acknowledges the specific mental health needs of these communities, which are often overlooked. Is this statement true, number one? And what do you think about that? And does this affect communities of color differently than others?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very deep question, Mo. The way that I was trained, I wasn't trained to work with people from my community. And I didn't know that till, we had like one course on multicultural psychology, and they would, this is how you work with Black people. This is how you work with, it was all separate, right? And like we were a monolith. And it's only once I started going into my work where I had some supervisors that said that all that stuff you learned, you're going to have to shift it up because it's not going to apply. So one of the things that you talk about, like the psychologist in the room, right? There's this blank screen, like we don't share anything about ourselves, we don't disclose. And so one of my supervisors early on said, that's not going to work here. She's like, you have to share something. And so I learned a lot. I would say the teenagers, humbling experience, but also learned an immense amount about being a great psychologist. The field wasn't designed for us. And I always say that. And so, we are now at a time where we're seeing, the numbers of Black psychologists represent 3% of all psychologists. When we put together psychologists of color, we get up to about 13 to 15%. And numbers about the same. Social work is a little better, but still like under 20%. So our numbers aren't great. And so if you can think about, psychology is, over 100 years, maybe closer to 100 years old now. They've really been modeled on white male perspectives. And so you can imagine that this system was not designed for us. There's also a lot of systemic racism built into it.
I was going to talk about that. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are barriers accessing cultural, competent, and affordable mental health care. There's also the stigma about people even seeking help. There's lots of barriers. How do you handle the racism and systematic things and handle people's fears or pauses? I mean, it's a lot less than when I was probably a teenager. Still, I don't necessarily go around telling people, especially my peers, hey, by the way, well, some of my closer friends, but I don't say, hey, I'm going to see a psychologist today. I think it's better.
Yes.
I think it's become better.
Yeah.
But tell me what you think.
So when I worked in the school, and it's a school that's predominantly students of color, some people be like, when they see me come in, they will literally like turn the other direction.
Wow. Because they think you're going to analyze them, or think they have to shut up.
Some of it, and some of the messages were around mental health professionals is that you're going to take me away from my home. Right, kind of like DCF, right? So people had a very visceral reaction. Oh, wow. But I would say for the most part, students, and being in the school, and they, students got to see you in different roles. Like I would go into classrooms, I would be monitoring lunch, right? They would come in and get snacks. I had snacks in my office that often helped. So students got to see a different side.
And got to know you.
And got to know, right.
Get some trust.
Yeah. Versus someone you go into an office for an hour and you don't really know that person.
Right.
So we were definitely able to shift messages around mental health. We also had a health class where we talked about depression and anxiety. So I think there's a lot shifting. There will definitely be some families who are very nervous about what this field is and I would say it comes by honestly, right? Our field has caused harm, which has led to medical mistrust and mental health mistrust.
Yes.
And so it comes honestly. And so I have to be aware of that. I can't walk in and assume that
Everybody's
you're going to
comfortable
trust.
with, right away. Yeah.
And so part of that was then building relationship with people and sharing, my perspective, my history. I can lean into I know meeting with a therapist is really uncomfortable, right? Or you don't know. So I could lean into those messages when meeting with someone new and kind of name the hesitations that they're having. And I realized also my goal was to build a relationship with them, with the family, so that they can trust me, so that they trust my decisions. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Chopping it up with Dr. Charmain Jackman, PhD, founder of InnoPsych. Has it been difficult as a practitioner? I mean, you mentioned the numbers and the percentages. I mean, Massachusetts isn't necessarily the biggest population of color in general. Has there been support in your community of practitioners? Have you found that here?
Yeah, so I started a therapist of color directory out of my own experience, having trouble finding a therapist myself. And so it was not only like looking for a therapist, but the process of searching for a therapist was laborious. It literally took me over 6 months to connect with somebody. And I knew that when people in our communities come to therapy, they're not coming at a time where things are okay and they're like, well, let me explore, right? Things have hit the fan. And so I just knew, like, if this was the experience for the average person looking for a therapist, that we could lose people. So I had already been thinking about my career and wanted to make a shift into entrepreneurship. And when I went through and had that firsthand experience, because I'd heard people say it's hard out there, but till I went through that myself, I was like, oh, I get it. And so that was my motivation for starting InnoPsych. And my mission it still is, to shift the racial inequities in mental health. And part of that was around making it easier for people to find therapists, but also shifting the narratives that people of color have about therapy and about mental health.
Yeah, when you take on something, you take it all on.
I told you.
I mean, you said you were ambitious. You were definitely have drive. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
What made you decide to go into private practice as opposed to being part of a larger organization?
Yeah. So selfish.
That's right.
I was like, if I'm going to be putting all this time in, I want all the money to come to me. Part of when I had started my private practice while I was working full time. And I was a part-time. I would see people on the weekend. I would do my forensic evaluations. But it really became a lot. I was really overworking. And that actually, I know we're going to talk about health, self-care, but I really wasn't taking care of myself to some aspects. So going into full-time entrepreneurship was an opportunity to reconfigure my schedule, be more available for my family, and to take care of myself. And I still didn't want a traditional private practice where you just see 30, 40 people a week. That for me felt like a lot. So I wanted to do something different. I wanted to be able to use the skills that I had gained now to really have a different impact on my community.
Dr. Charmain Jackman, everybody. Well, let's, I guess, get to the book that you've actually written.
Yes.
The Black Therapist's Guide to Private Practice and Entrepreneurship. How long did it take to produce, and was it very intense?
So I would say probably a period of maybe 4 years, from like doing the proposal, working through the logistics of getting the deal signed. And I was working on that. I was working on it while it was going through. It took breaks.
You can show the book. I mean, it's all right. I don't mind you doing that.
I get a little shy, but I'm very proud of this. A lot of hard work went into it. And why I wrote this is because when I got into the field, remember that little girl who was about 12 or 14 knew she wanted to be a psychologist and she was going to own a business too. But by the time I came out of grad school, I had these messages where I was saying, oh, I don't want to own a business. I don't want to do private practice. That's too hard. And what I learned in that the journey of becoming a therapist was focused only on becoming a therapist.
Right.
There was no mentoring, no coaching around how do you actually take your skills and build a business around that. And so it has been a disservice, you're in school for a long time, so I get it. But I wanted people to have a roadmap to start their practice. And so I, through the generosity of 2 colleagues, when I was looking to start, they really kind of coached me through the process. And so I was like, I take all the knowledge, all the mistakes, all the
Okay, and
learnings,
you put it into
and
the
I
book.
put it into a book. Yeah.
How might new clinicians or graduate students use this guidebook relationship trust with clients in marginalized communities?
This book is old. The first part of it is about changing mindset. I simply wrote it for Black therapists, even though, I told you the numbers. Numbers aren't a lot. I find that of all mental health professionals, we get the less mentoring and encouragement to go into private practice and entrepreneurship. We are kind of guided into being on the front lines,
Right.
Being into community health,
Yeah,
right?
it's like, okay, put you out there,
Put you out there.
but they're like, all right, no guidance, and most of the based on what you just said, most of the training isn't necessarily designed for the people you're on the front lines trying to support.
Right, exactly, right. And many of us want to go back into our communities,
right?
But what happens is sometimes people end up at community centers. They're not seeing the type of clients they want to see. They're overburdened, right? They have high caseloads, lots of paperwork demands, and within 5 years they've burned out and they've left the field. And so that becomes a disservice. So this really offers an opportunity, not only if you want to go into entrepreneurship, but I tell people for just think about how you navigate career, how you navigate workspaces. There's a lot in here around mindset shifts, about how to build wealth. Therapists are the worst when it comes to money. We just want to help. We don't want to make money. We want to be poor. And so it's really about shifting that mindset. Like money isn't dirty. Being wealthy isn't a dirty thing. It's in a bad word. Many people are in debt, because they go to school. Yeah. There's a lot of debt to getting a master's degree, and then a PhD potentially, and they become stuck. They're burned out and just become really stuck. And so it is an opportunity for people to see a different way forward.
Thank you.
So that's the tagline: turn your passion to profit while doing good and protecting your peace.
I wonder if you can actually take that last line right there and is it a transferable thought and motivation that you could do in other spaces if you're not just doing psychology? Could you take that and also apply it to if I wanted to do it in communications, or if I wanted to do it in theater arts and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think psychology is one of the few fields I think that can be applicable to anything. And again, this book is written for therapists, but it's written for anyone who's interested in entrepreneurship, because a lot of it really deals with that mindset. Chapter 13 deals with our self-care and well-being. Chapter 10 deals with pricing. That becomes another thing where people struggle with pricing their products, because it's connected to self-worth. Is somebody going to pay me what I'm worth, right? But you have to know and own what you're worth first.
How do I, let's say I'm I need to identify if I have a limited belief system. Is it pretty evident? Is it just like out there? How do I know? And what are the first strategies or first steps a person could take to, I mean, if it, to take on, or should somebody do? Is there a list?
Yeah. So I would say sometimes it's really around who your network is.
Okay.
And so one of the things, particularly around those limiting beliefs, because I thought I had big dreams. I thought I had big goals.
They are.
And then mentor was like, there's more. There's so much more you can do. And so depending on your circumstances, sometimes you can only see a little further ahead of you.
Just enough, yeah.
It's so important to have models who come from different backgrounds, who are different income levels, so that you can see possibilities.
Thank you.
So that's a big piece. And then there are these cognitive distortions. We call these false beliefs that we have about ourselves. So a lot of people avoid entrepreneurship because they think it's too hard, right? Or they think, well, I'm not going to be successful. So they already predict the future. So that's a cognitive distortion, predicting the future.
Limiting,
Yeah. So those can get in the way of people really pursuing their dreams and getting stuck in mindsets and getting stuck in places.
Thank you. So you just mentioned, obviously, some of the biggest factors to entrepreneurship or hesitance, like money, savings, growth of, those are really sensitive subjects today, especially 2025. A lot of volatile instability going on in the markets, job market, is it, you really think it is possible for somebody to actually shift money mindsets, grow with intention without sacrificing mental health?
I think so. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay.
But it's an intentional journey. Some of us have experienced money trauma or financial trauma,
Hmm.
whether it's been identity theft, family borrowing money from you and never paying you back. Right? There are many instances where people have or just never really learned money. They've
Savings.
seen models where you get it, you spend it.
Right.
Right? Or some people, for me, it was like I would hoard it
Hmm.
and not make good decisions because I was just trying to save money and not thinking strategically about how I can use the money to advance my business.
And make more money for itself, whether
Yeah.
it's in reinvest in yourself, reinvest in your dreams.
Or doing things that someone else who is less skilled can do while I focus on revenue generating activities. I don't have to do everything in the business, right?
Mm.
And so it's really about understanding how your relationship with money, some of those lessons, and unlearning that, because if you don't have a good relationship with money, if you don't get that handle, it will show up in your business. And so when I have a coaching business, help coach therapists through this some of the work that we do here in this book. One of the things I have them do is to check their credit score. I have them calculate their net worth. Many people have never done that. And what are your expenses? How much do you cost? And I had never done those calculations. I knew I would pay my bills on time, for the most part, if I'm being real, right? But I pay my bills. I had more money coming in than was going out. I knew that. I knew enough to know that. I was very careful with credit cards and paying off those credit cards. But there was so much more financial knowledge that I didn't have. And so through this process of entrepreneurship, I have just learned a lot about my money and how I engage with money, my avoidance with money.
How did you not become an accountant? I mean, it was like it's. I love the fact that you got these multiple parts and sides of your brain that you're like you're activating. Some of them are like emotional, some are non-emotional.
Right.
Because sometimes people don't have like an emotional attachment to money. Talking with Dr. Charmain Jackman, a couple of questions before we kind of wrap things up. What projects besides this book, which sounds amazing, what projects are you working on in the future? I mean, are you expanding more things that are going to be about psychology and entrepreneurship, or diving into adjacent projects or topics?
Yeah, for sure. So the biggest part, is like, I thought once I finished the book, like that was it.
Yeah.
That was selling the book.
Now it's
its own project, but it's been great getting out there, doing book signings and author talks. I do have an idea of turning this into a TV show.
Really?
To help therapists. So that's something that's on
TV show.
Yeah.
Interesting. With actors, or would you be
with real people?
Oh, with real people.
Yeah. Oh. Kind of like thinking about like those makeover shows.
Oh.
For therapists. So don't anybody take my idea now.
See, now you got me wanting. I mean, I don't even know if you want to get into it, and I could probably edit it out if I need to. What do you think about Iyanla Vanzant? Now she does things with emotional, behavioral. She does more
emotional. There's a woman who does stuff with budget. Tiffany the Budgetnista. So it's that same idea of there's some around financial, but this same idea of like helping therapists who are stuck. Maybe they've started their practice, but then they're stuck.
Okay.
And I've had a few people who've had those situations where they're just stuck. They can't grow.
Don't take her idea. Don't take that. And speaking of, where can people locate you on or offline, and where can people find that book?
Absolutely. So we are on InnoPsych is on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're there. We're pretty active on Instagram. This book is available where most books are sold. The publisher is Norton, WW Norton, so they have some deals there. Norton, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Books A Million.
Frugal Books, by any chance?
Frugal Books. We have talked to Frugal, and we've talked to Just Bookish.
Cool.
So
very cool too.
Yeah.
Love to see it in some Black bookstores. Very cool.
Great.
Before I actually let you go, I wanted to make sure that I said how much I appreciate, how much I love the fact that you got inspired through media, through seeing an image. You've learned. You're definitely trying to help people along your journey. You're always helping people. You've earned. You want to help other people, not only help, but you also want to help return you're trying to return to the community in terms of being able to like make other people self-sustainable too. It's not just about just you having just your practice, but it's about other people. And I'm hopeful, just like you saw Newhart, and you were inspired through seeing Newhart and Law and Order. That who knows if you hopefully I believe because I know just knowing you, you're going to probably make this TV or make this media a reality, and who knows what somebody's going to see when they see you and seeing your image.
Yeah, representation matters, and it's really helpful to see models of what possibilities are, and taking that to another level. But I think I would have loved to see a person of color back then as a psychologist. That would have blown my mind, right? But seeing that, I could see I could see myself in there. And sometimes, even if you don't have the representation, you have to see yourself in something, in a space. And so
you probably, like growing up though, saw plenty of entrepreneurial go-getting, I'm gonna do it myself.
Yeah.
I mean,
Beijing's. I mean, like, come on now.
I'm gonna fix it. If somebody else ain't gonna fix it, I gonna fix it myself.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand that kind of mindset. So if you see a lot of that energy around you, that at least, even if you don't see the exact profession being performed,
right.
you're gonna have that can do in you, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that say you can do whatever you want to do.
Absolutely. So what the field needs is more young people coming into the field. We need more people from our communities seeing mental health and therapy as a viable career. And so I'm always willing to mentor and talk to someone about the field. I think it's really important. So, but to your point again, that full circle moment, that representation is so important.
And I did say that it was my last question, but I did have one extra question. So your work often emphasizes systematic change, but it honors the micro moments of healing. In the spirit of emergent strategies, small is all concept. How do you encourage mental health professionals and entrepreneurs to recognize and leverage small relationship or relational gestures as agents of transformation, particularly in work with marginalized communities?
Yeah, I love that. So,
I can't take credit for that question, but it's a good one that I had to ask you.
I'm curious who should get credit.
Well, our mutual friend gets that question credit.
That is a powerful question. So I think I love the idea about micro things that we can do every day, and so micro habits. I have really learned that on this journey. I do a lot of workplace well-being programming. I work with therapists. I work with entrepreneurs. I work with artists. And it is now about, because as I mentioned, our lives are so busy. The first thing people say, well, I don't have time.
I don't have time. I say that all the time.
I don't have time, right? And so you do have time. How do you shift the time that you have? How do you shift your mindset about the time that you have? And so if it starts with a little kernel. So if you want to make change, a lot of us often want to go big or go home, right? But actually, the best change is where you do a micro habit, 5 minutes. You want to start working out more. Start with 5 minutes walking around your block. Just 5. And just commit to 5 minutes. You will be surprised that as you get out there, you get going, right? And so I think also about what are the micro moments of joy. How do you start your day with joy? One of my colleagues just wrote a book about the matters of the heart. And one beautiful thing that I just grabbed, like, start your day with love. And so that has been just a thing that I am working on. I have 2 teenagers who really challenge that. So I am like starting my day with love, right? Doing things that make you joyful. And so really thinking about what is the short time that you have. 3 minutes of breathing, right? And you start to do it, you start to build up, you see the results. And so that's been a huge piece that I've tried to message that I've tried to share with people that I talk to. Give examples. Do the things you love. I love scent. So like I'll sprinkle my little lavender in my shower. My showers are often a little long, but that's my little joyful place. I get to think, so things that you can come and bring you joy and relax our bodies. We're like this.
I do the same. That's what my represent to me when I get walk. A along the Charles, walking a forest, walk a trail, do some things like swimming, I maybe even go skate.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we have to all find that
Right.
that moment where we can pause, be inside of ourselves,
Yeah.
and have some joy.
Yeah, and it's really about doing things that if the gym stresses you out, if it stresses the gym, don't do it, right?
Yeah.
Do something joyful. If it's a roller skate, just move your body. I did have in the book we have daily habits really promote self care and actually soul care because I think when we talk about self care, we're often thinking about getting our nails done, getting our hair done, like what our outfits, the expensive retreats, right? But really about that soul care is like how are you taking care of your insides? I just want to quickly share 7 daily habits that I think we should all do to foster breathing because I don't want to miss. So spirituality, that's our faith, whether it's to nature, your formal religion, it might be scripture, it might be whatever that is for you. Social support, connecting with other people. Loneliness is a mental public health pandemic. So the importance of being in community with as an entrepreneur, as a therapist, nutrition, what we feed our body. That's physically but also what messages are we taking in? What are we exposing ourselves to? Our movement. I think that's a really important. Some limited mobility. So that might just look like that might look like digestion for you. Our routine, start your day, how you end your day, what are the things that you're doing to bring joy, right? Mental space, that's mental space. That is time for yourself. For me, my shower, my little last moment, sometimes reading a book, right? I sit in my car, going to my house, give myself like 10 minutes. That's just for me. That is just for me. That commute to that time, and then to get 7 that might look different on depending on what's happening. That's an important part is and that allows our bodies to themselves
and regenerate.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing all 7 of those. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. And I'm hoping and looking forward to like practicing all those 7 as well as diving more into the book and getting some guides. Once again, it's called The Black Therapist's Guide to Private Practice and Entrepreneurship. And I like the part at the bottom. Read that again. Turn your passion to profit while doing good and protecting your peace. Thank you very much, Dr. Charmain Jackman here at Studio 889 WERS ERS Plus. Thank you.